Hi, my name is Clembaderis. This is my Module 4, Understanding My Community, and I am going to be discussing Pueblo West High School and Pueblo, Colorado. A little bit about the sociological inventory. We have a very diverse population here in Pueblo and in Pueblo West. I'll talk about both as we go through this a little bit. We have multi-million-dollar homes here in Pueblo West, and we also have trailer parks. There is some diversity amongst those. We have a large Hispanic heritage. We have a large Italian heritage inside of Pueblo. We still have areas where they are dominated by those different ethnic groups, and areas where Italian areas and Hispanic areas within town. We have elected officials. We have two colleges in Pueblo, CSU Pueblo and Pueblo Community College. So those are the college officials that I'm speaking of. Obviously, funding is not very good right now. COVID is causing a lot of issues. We've had to cut some teachers, cut one administrative role. Funding is not very good, especially with the lack of taxing that's going on, lack of buying that happened. There's some real struggles in Colorado with funding of schools. Recently in Pueblo, we've had a lot of Hispanic protests. We have a Christopher Columbus statue downtown that is continually being protested around. A lot of people who are against the statue. With the stuff going on in our world, we have a lot of community rallies happening within our community. Just a little bit about us. Continuing on with customs and traditions, I feel like we have a lot of common ideas and attitudes, which are church, school. We have a hardworking community, real blue-collar community. It was built on the steel mills. Immigrants from the East Coast, so it's a real hardworking community. That's what it was built on. The impacts of race, religion, a lot of Catholic beliefs, a lot of Catholic church. There are large disparities, huge amounts of Catholics in Pueblo, not only in the Hispanic but also the Italian communities. At our school, we've had a lot of change in the last 4 or 5 years. I've been here for 3. The year before me, a new administration was hired, and there's been probably a third of our teachers have turned over in those 3 years since I've been here because of the new administration. Just the lack of wanting change and change the way that they've done stuff. Continuing on, population and characteristics. Population of Pueblo is 111,750. Pueblo West is right at 30,000. It could be up a little bit more. This is from the 2019 census, and it is booming. Pueblo West is. This is kind of where everybody wants to live. It's the newer, nicer neighborhood of Pueblo. Educational level, 89% of people with high school degree or higher, 22% with a bachelor degree within Pueblo West. Pueblo West age, 22% 18 and under, and 19% 65 and over. So that other 60% is right there in the middle between 18 and 65. We are roughly 50% male and 50% female. That could go a few degrees each direction based on the year. Some of the occupations, the hospitals, we have 2 hospitals in town. Steel mill is a huge source of jobs for our community, and the schools. A couple other small ones, or not small, but Vestas. We are close to Fountain Fort Carson military base, so a lot of military live in our community. Target is a huge distribution center here in Pueblo that a lot of people work at as well. Communication channels, ways that we communicate. We have 3 local TV stations. They're based in Colorado Springs, but they're Colorado Springs Pueblo stations, Southern Colorado stations. We also have a couple local radio stations that news and information is delivered through. We have a daily newspaper, the Pueblo Chieftain, that reaches a large majority. It also reaches Eastern Colorado. That is also their daily newspaper. Social media is huge. It's 2020. Can't do anything without it being put on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all those things. The foreign language impact within our community. We have a large EDL population within our school. With those students, we have special programs to help them through school and help them get caught up. Where do people get most of their information? Local news and radio, and obviously social media. There's a social media page. I live in Pueblo West that can be a gossip page, but there's also a good source of information. Community groups, the school district. Pueblo is a huge union town, large in our schools. The PTA, the Booster Club goes out to the community, gets donations, helps all programs within the school. Like I said, the two colleges within our community, CSU Pueblo and Pueblo Community College. There's a large YMCA. So we have tons of small business who have been struggling with this COVID close downs and issues that we've been facing. Large corporations are Vestas, the steel mill, like I said, the Pueblo Chemical Depot. There's a few of them out there. Some private groups and individuals are the Elks, the Eagles, the VFW Lions Club. We have good relationships with those private groups and individuals, as well as the large corporations, but they're not as willing to join those partnerships as some of the private groups and individuals like the Lions Club and the VFW. Leadership within our school, definitely a top-down school district. It starts with the superintendent, who's overseen by the school board, and all of his decisions are voted on by the school board. The principal then makes school-wide decisions and hands those down to the staff. We do not have much say in things that we are faced with. A lot of it is just, here's what you do. The school board is also controlled by the state, so those the state allows funding and all of those things, and that is passed on to the school board. Outside of the school, we have elected mayor, elected city council, just like anywhere else. Our leadership is fairly similar to many towns and cities. Community leaders, characteristics. The current situation, Pueblo West is booming. Anywhere you drive around, there's new houses being built. We're trying for growth. It's an older community, is established in 1971, I believe. And we're right on a lake. They were trying to build a lake community, and it is starting to boom. Prices of land are starting to go up. Prices of houses are driving up. People are moving from Colorado Springs and Denver down this way and commuting just because the prices still aren't as high as Colorado Springs and Denver. Again, the businesses, we have tons of small businesses, restaurants, mom and pop shops within our town, large corporations we've talked about. We've also talked about the mayor, the city council, and the county commissioners who are all elected. They're all very approachable. They're open to ideas. Within the school, if we have ideas, we can go talk to these people. They're good people, and they'll work with us most of the time. Economic conditions. In Pueblo West, our median household income is $64,560 a year. I actually thought it was going to be a little bit higher. Like I said, there's huge disparity. I'm sure there's households that make close to $1 million a year, and there's households that make, $20,000 to $30,000 a year. We have that huge disparity within our community. The unemployment rate is 4.4%. Our sales tax is 3.9% because we're not in the city lines. We are only charged county taxes. It is a growing population, like I said. Within Pueblo, there's also small family farms. There's agriculture. On the other side of Pueblo, we call it the county. There's a lot of farming. Within the city, the commerce, the steel mill, marijuana is big, especially in Pueblo West. There's 10 to 12 dispensaries in Pueblo West, which was approved in 2012, 13, something like that. Big R is another big commerce within our community. Industry, the steel mill, Vestas, Pueblo Chemical Depot. I've hit a few of those. Those are the big industries within Pueblo. We have the Santa Fe Railroad who runs through Pueblo. Like I said before, the unemployment rate is 4.4. The average property values in Pueblo West is $278,000 with a single-family home on it. Continuing the political structure, local and state government drive education. Everything is 90% of our funding is through the local and state government. Only 10 to 8% comes from federal funding. At our school in Colorado, we receive roughly $8,500 per student. Our enrollment is approximately $1,400 with online schooling that we're doing. They're trying to get that number nailed down, find out who's in, who's out. It's tough when you're taking attendance through a computer, but we're approximately 1,400 students. We receive a lot of grants. We have a grant writing team who, writes grants for things that we need, whether it be technology, communication things, whatever it may be. They write those grants. The government and education, our property taxes are fairly high because of the rising cost of land, and the marijuana taxes, which are only used for new schools. There's a lot of discussion about where that marijuana money should go. Some social tensions, I believe that's where I'm at. Social tensions, interracial confrontation. We have mild confrontations. Like I said, we've got some protests and stuff going on at this time right now, protesting some statues and things that we have going on downtown. We also have gang issues, especially inside the city. There's Crips, there's Blood, there's Mexican Mafia, Sereñas, and the old Italians. We do have those, and we're aware of it. I think the biggest cliques that we have are divisions among groups of people and how much money they make, the places that they hang out, the restaurants they eat in. That's the division that I'm speaking of. Discrimination, good representation of population. We have a large Hispanic population. I'm sure there's some discrimination that they face, especially financial discrimination based on what they make. Extra sources of information. We have the internet, news and news outlets, phone book, city directory, government resources. We have the Census Bureau, the Chamber of Commerce, the Health Department, churches. Churches are a huge thing in our community, especially the Catholic Church. And all of these, the school board, the city council, county commissioners, record minutes and at their meetings. Power structures. Within our district, we have a large geographic area. What I mean is that we have about 70 miles between our schools. There's 3 high schools within our community, and like I said, there were about a 70-mile triangle between us. So we're really spread out. There's also the city schools versus the county schools. We're a county school. The older schools are within the city, and there's a little bit of a rivalry there. In our school, like I said, we've had new administration in the last 5 years, and we've had lots of turnover within our school. Multicultural issues. What I mean by written material is having Spanish written or alternative language material for students, for our ELL students. We also get students from other countries, but the majority of them are ELL students. Having a multicultural food menu. We have 3 or 4 options each day for students to choose. I believe there's a grill in which they have Hispanic food, typically burritos and rice and stuff like that, which is really good food. There are lots of club options. I think we have 31 clubs within our school and our community. Our school dress code is strictly enforced. We do not have uniforms, but it is strictly enforced. Just the length of material in shorts and skirts, types of shirts that our kids are able to wear. I think this will help with the gap between the amount of money individuals make. Measuring public opinion, things that we do now are surveys and polls. I don't know how valid they are, the validity that they carry, but we do those in order to see what our communities wants from our school. Public views of schools, we have first of all the positives. We are the school that the intelligent kids want to go to. This is where they want to be. We test the highest. We have a little bit. I teach here, so obviously I feel this way, but we have the best kids in Pueblo, and the best families. They want to come to our school. Some of the negatives are that we are privileged, that we have that we are the biggest school in Pueblo, and they feel like the big brother picking on all the little brothers. Some of the traditions within our school, a pigskin game. It's where we play Pueblo County in football. It's the big rivalry for us, and also homecoming. All the dances, prom, homecoming dance, all those things as well. Like I talked about, the validity of the public